Hi everyone and welcome to the April edition of Wavelength. On March 12th, the LCRA held an open house in Columbus to discuss options for meeting the future water needs of the region. About 100 people attended the meeting, which featured exhibits on conservation and environmental programs, groundwater development, and channel dams. Channel dams are small structures built right in the river channel. And there was a great deal of interest in how LCRA's recent acquisition of water rights from the Garwood Irrigation Company would affect these proposed channel dams in the lower Colorado River.
We're talking with the folks at Garwood Irrigation District and reached a tentative agreement. And if all that is finalized and is approved by the TNRCC, then it has a tremendous impact on us very positively in terms of our water supply. And it pretty well puts the channel dams in a different category. But things can happen, and it may take as much as a year to get the approvals for the Garwood acquisition done. So therefore, we will do the environmental study and some of the study work on the channel dams, but then we'll just have a time there where we say, well, then do we put that proposal on the shelf? Or do we go forward with it? And it really is contingent on the completion of the acquisition of the Garwood water and that getting approved by the TNRCC.
So what are channel dams and just how do they work? Here's LCRA meteorologist Bob Rose to explain.
When the Lower Colorado River Authority was created by the Texas legislature in 1934, one of its primary missions was to tame the unpredictable Colorado River. Weather patterns across the Texas Hill Country can change very quickly and often bring extreme conditions to the Colorado River Basin. Very often, extended periods of drought will be broken by severe flooding. With the completion of the Highland Lakes dams in the 1950s, the LCRA could bring some control to this flood drought cycle, which had for too long ruled the lives of those who lived along the river. Historically, the LCRA has met the challenge of providing a reliable water supply for hundreds of thousands of people. Today, with explosive growth and increasing demands on the limited waters of the Colorado River, new tools and methods must be employed to stretch our limited water resources.
Drought's a way of life here in Central Texas, and during those times, the water we have stored in Buchanan and Travis, our two storage lakes, becomes extremely valuable and rather precious. One of the basic assumptions of LCRA's water management plan is that we will operate the lower Colorado River and the Highland Lakes as a system. At the present time, there's no way to operate the lower Colorado River. Once we release the water from Lake Travis, it flows for 7 days down the lower river and into Matagorda Bay.
The LCRA is managing the river below Austin through water conservation practices, using groundwater for irrigation purposes, and by building small dams in the river channel. One of these channel dams is located near Bay City and is used to provide a pumping reservoir for rice irrigation at the LCRA's Gulf Coast Irrigation District. The Bay City Channel Dam is operated by inflating a series of bladders with air pressure. These bladders, which are made of bulletproof Kevlar, lift steel gates into position to impound the water.
The system is set up so that whenever we have any kind of flood inflow, the gates will automatically drop to compensate for any additional flow into the lake area. The advantage to this type of system is that we don't have to worry about increasing the flood depths upstream of the dam. With the gates automatically dropping, then we don't have to worry about rising levels upstream.
During the operating season, that 10-foot pool creates a reservoir. We have about a 2-day pumping pool impounded ahead of the reservoir. It's going to create a safer environment for boaters upstream of the pumping plants, upstream of the dam. And it's going to allow some more recreational activity on the river upstream of the dam as well.
Ed O'Borney and Martin Heaney are spending a lot of time on the river these days. They work for SB Houston and Associates, who have been hired by the LCRA to conduct an environmental impact study. They will assess the effects that any new channel dams would have on fish and other aquatic life in the river system.
What this is going to involve is approximately an 18-month study where we're going to be doing a full range of environmental activities, from looking at spawning season surveys and habitat for the blue sucker, which is a state-threatened fish in Texas. We're going to be also doing quantitative fish sampling to collect fish, to collect benthos, which are the bugs that live in the sediment.
Aborny says it's important to incorporate any research that has already been done in this area.
The first step for pretty much each of these projects is to gather the information that's already out there, so we don't do anything as a duplicate effort. I mean, LCRA has a lot of information: water quality, flow, Clean Rivers program, a lot of information about this river and this stretch as well. We'll gather all that information. They've got a lot of information about the Bay City impoundment. We'll collect all that information as well. We'll go through Texas Parks and Wildlife, the Texas Water Development Board, U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to look for habitat stuff, that the information they've collected. And that's pretty much the first part of each task, is to go and do that data search, find what's out there so we can kind of tailor our monitoring to fill the gaps that need to be filled.
Now, any good fisherman can tell you where to catch fish, but if you're an aquatic biologist trying to document life in the river, you have to go where the fish live.
What we're going to do on these spawning season surveys under normal conditions are we're going to do some snorkeling to try to actually ID fish, in particular the blue sucker. And blue suckers are typically fairly large, up to about anywhere from 30 to 36 inches in length, up to 3 to 15 pounds. We'll probably be looking at them in about the 5-pound range. So it's a large-sized fish. They like to hang out in this swift water behind boulders and in riffle areas where you're supposed to be able just to swim up on them or fairly close and do some identification.
In the spring of 1999, SB Houston will present their findings and make recommendations to the LCRA about the impact these channel dams may have on the river ecosystem. For over 60 years, the LCRA has met the challenge of managing the river and providing water to the folks of Central and South Central Texas. Channel dams are just one of the options the LCRA needs to consider in managing the future water demands on the Colorado River.
Well, I got no good excuses, but I got plenty of regrets.
It was a chilly Friday morning just before dawn when volunteers gathered on the shores of Town Lake in Austin for the 4th annual Cowboy Breakfast. This breakfast serves as the official kickoff for the Travis County Livestock Show and Rodeo, and LCRA employees were on hand to help out.
We have about 25 volunteers that have come out to help support this event. The Cowboy Breakfast is really a kickoff to the rodeo, and the rodeo, I'm not sure everybody realizes this, but the funds generated from the rodeo go to the largest scholarship fund in Travis County, so we're really glad to be a part of it and having a lot of fun doing it as well. We have folks out here with a crane and a 40 by 60 foot Texas flag. We have people serving sausage from V&V Sausage, and people manning the Borden's booth with milk and juice, and Taco Cabana here, and it's all free and a lot of fun, and we're just glad to be here.
3 LCRA board members were also at the breakfast for a very special presentation.
Well, we've got a check here for $100,000. That we are very pleased to be able to give to this deserving group, and very pleased that this will serve so many people in our service area of LCRA.
This donation was one of 33 grants totaling nearly $580,000 that were awarded in March through LCRA's Community Development Partnership Program. The program provides assistance to counties, cities, volunteer fire departments, and other nonprofit organizations throughout LCRA's service territory.
I can't tell you how much this means to our program. I can't tell you how much this means to have a relationship with LCRA. We'd like to thank these board members. We'd like to thank Mark Rhodes, and we'd like to thank the employees of LCRA, because they're out here doing volunteer work for us all the time, and they're just as much a part of this as we are.
A zigzag. Wonder how they came up with that name.
One cowboy just didn't believe in sitting down on the job.
Butterfly?
And another familiar cowboy dropped in to say thanks.
The Lower Colorado River Authority donated $100,000 to the Education Foundation that the rodeo supports. And it is a big deal, and it's a good signal. It's a signal that education is important. It's a signal that people are willing to contribute, corporate Texas, Foundation Texas, to the betterment of our state. This rodeo is a lot of fun. It's great to bring your families out. It's great to see what Texas's past was all about, but our Central Texas has got to understand that the rodeo also supports education, and that's a big deal for Texas.
During any emergency situation, good communications between responding agencies is critical. This is LCRA's Emergency Communications Unit, or ECU. It serves as an on-site communications headquarters and can be dispatched to any location at a moment's notice. Equipped with an 80-foot transmission tower and mobile radio units, the ECU provides a valuable alternative means of communication in the field. The ECU can also be used as a temporary replacement tower in the LCRA's radio network.
Stage area number 1.
Recently, the ECU was the focus of an incident training seminar in Lampasas. EMS, fire department, police, sheriff's department, and city officials were all a part of the training session.
If we ever have, hopefully, never have to use it, but when a disaster occurs, we will have people already trained in the different areas and already know their jobs. That way, everybody knows what their function will be.
Incident command training focuses on how people associated with emergency situations can better organize and communicate with each other during a tornado, chemical spill, or other threatening situation. It also allows important information to reach the public faster and more efficiently.
The incident command system was a system that was developed, actually formulated out in California to respond to major wildland fires, and it provides a system of managing a lot of resources, a very difficult situation, in the most effective and efficient way possible.
For more information about the Emergency Communications Unit and training opportunities, call Ed Schaefer at 800-776-5272, extension 4072.
As we continue to introduce you to LCRA's newest board members, this month we take you to Bay City in Matagorda County to meet Arthur Milberger. Talk about an impressive backyard. Well, actually, this is part of the 3,000 acres that make up the Milberger turfgrass farms.
Our product goes to several different categories, primarily homeowners all over the state of Texas. We grow 21 varieties of turf, so we're able to go to a lot of different sectors, but homeowners being the most popular and most demand. A large part of our production also goes to the golf course industry. Another portion goes to the Department of Transportation, our state highways. We do a lot of work with erosion type companies for highways and commercial projects. And the rest of it goes all over Texas into commercial projects, whether they be apartments, office buildings, multi-dwellings. So we pretty well do the whole gamut, all the way from sports fields, golf courses, all the way to your front doorstep.
Milberger Turfgrass has about 60 full-time employees and ships out several million square yards of sod each year. This family business was started by Arthur's dad, F.J. Milberger, in the late 40s and has blossomed and continued to grow over the years. F.J. has been a pioneer in the turfgrass industry in Texas, and now at 83, he still comes to the office every day.
I'm still kind of halfway active in the business, and I think I'll keep on till I don't know what happens.
We've had a wonderful life, and it's always nice to be able to continue something that a legacy that my father started, and not many people probably get a chance to be in partnerships in business with their father, and it's certainly been a pleasure. We're pretty good partners.
You'll have that in just a few minutes.
Arthur Milberger was appointed to the LCRA board by Governor Bush in 1997, and he says it's been quite a learning experience for him.
The LCRA was a bit baffling at first to see the the size and the scope of where it reached and some of the things that it did. And of course what impressed me most about LCRA was its reach into the community and its involvement in the community and the things that it had the power to do and did them quite well. The LCRA seems like it's a more of a family than a business, and it's very refreshing to see an organization that large have as many dedicated people that feel like they're part of a family team, and that's almost like a small business atmosphere within a very large conglomeration. But it's refreshing to see that.
Milberger says that being from the last county on the Colorado River, they feel the effects of everything that has happened upstream.
It's very important that, to me, that we keep our bays and estuaries and the river as environmentally clean as possible, so it's going to further our industry as well as our recreational environment down on the coast. That probably is our main asset. Not oil, gas, but water of the Colorado River. And we want to do everything, and myself as director want to do everything to ensure that the Colorado region, all the way from the Highland Lakes to the Matagorda, is preserved.
Milberger's term on the board will expire in February 2003.
Rising waters, not a rising population, is a threat to a community along Lake Travis. Runoff from the weekend rains are threatening homes on Graveyard Point at Lake Travis tonight. KV24's Danny Emercio is at Mansfield Dam, which should provide some relief tonight. Danny, what is the situation like tonight?
Well, Walt, Lake Travis is usually considered full at 681 feet. The Lower Colorado River Authority says it expects it to be at 690 feet by the end of the week. So tonight it's going to open one of the gates here at Mansfield Dam to alleviate that pressure, try to drop it down to at least 685 feet. Now let's take a look at some of the other dams here along the Highland Lakes chain. Now the LCRA has 3 floodgates open at Lake Buchanan, 1 at Wirtz Dam on Lake LBJ, 2 at Starkey Dam on Lake Marble Falls, and as we told you here at Mansfield Dam on Lake Travis, they're going to be opening a floodgate in less than 2 hours. And down on Lake Austin, 1 floodgate is going on at Tom Miller Dam. Now, while these dams are doing a good job of handling all this excess water, many of the people along this lake are wondering what that water is going to do to their property. It's a bright sunny day on Lake Travis. Not the type of weather you would expect for flooding. After a couple of days of heavy rains upstream, the lake level is creeping up. This stick in the water marks the edge of the lake on Monday. By Tuesday morning, it was up to this pole. A couple of feet higher, and it will start spilling into some homes.
Seems to be keeping a distance.
Barbara Warden is keeping track of the lake level, but she's not quite ready to bail out. After all, the repairs haven't been completed to the damage from last summer's flooding. She's had to fix 2 of the 3 floors in her home.
It was unbelievable canoeing out here to look at our home and walking in on the 3rd floor deck and looking at fish swimming around in our kitchen.
It's not Mother Nature that's raising the level of Lake Travis, it's the Lower Colorado River Authority. The agency spills water into the lake to prevent flooding in other areas. But some of that water will end up in homes here at Graveyard Point.
It's a real unfortunate situation, and my heart goes out to them, but I can't change the dynamics of the whole system of over 600 miles for 15 homes, or 20, or whatever the number is. And that's, again, the tough part of this. It's not something we enjoy doing, but it's a reality.
Now, the LCRA says the reality is this water this time coming up will probably only damage some first floors on some homes, but we are expecting rain possibly next week, which could start the process all over again, and it could happen several times between now and the summer. Some people aren't taking any chances and are planning to move out already. Walt?
Okay, Danny, and some news for boaters tonight. The LCRA says it will close Inks Lake to recreational use because the water there is running too swift.
Just a reminder that Riverfest along the Colorado River Trail is underway. Events are scheduled in communities up and down the river through April and May. For a Riverfest schedule, call 1-888-TEXAS-FUN.
Well, that's it for this edition of Wavelength. We'll look forward to seeing you again next month.
Up and down the rivers on the first show boat. What a thrill it